The frozen beggars. The ice storm had no mercy. White wind screamed across the frozen mining camp, hitting metal walls like fists. The temperature warning lights flashed red again and again, but no one needed machines to tell them the truth. Outside meant death. Inside the control tower, Ethan Cole stood near the window, arms crossed, watching the storm swallow the horizon. He was a human foreman, not a soldier, not a hero. Just a man trying to keep his workers alive on a dead, frozen planet. Night shift is almost done, one worker said, rubbing his hands near a heater. If the storm gets worse, we shut everything down. Ethan nodded. That was the plan. It was always the plan. Then the scanner beeped. Once. Twice. Ethan turned. What's that? The technician frowned. Movement, but it doesn't make sense. Show me. The screen zoomed in. Shapes appeared through the storm. Large, slow, and uneven. Mining machines? Someone asked. No, the technician whispered. They're too alive. Ethan leaned closer. His stomach tightened. The shapes moved again. Closer. Animals? Another worker said. Ethan shook his head. Nothing survives out there. The wind howled louder, as if the planet itself was warning them. Then the shapes came into view. Silence filled the room. They were dragons. Not one. A family. Their massive bodies were covered in ice. Their wings dragged behind them, frozen and torn. Frost clung to their horns and scales. Each step looked painful, slow, forced. One dragon was smaller, barely standing. Another carried something close to its chest. An egg, cracked, fading. No one breathed. Dragons don't come near human camps, someone whispered. They kill us. Ethan had heard the stories. Everyone had. Dragons were powerful, proud, and deadly. Humans avoided them. Dragons avoided humans. This should not be happening. The dragon stopped just outside the camp's outer lights. Then something impossible happened. The largest dragon lowered its head, then its body. It knelt. A deep, heavy sound came from its chest. Not a roar, not anger. A plea. The smaller dragon collapsed into the snow. The egg slipped from its claws and landed softly on the ice. Warning alarms rang inside the camp. Unauthorized life forms detected. Security protocol activated. Ethan's heart raced. Helping them was illegal. Sheltering non-humans was forbidden. Helping dragons? That was worse. Human command would not ask questions. They would punish first. Sir, the technician said, panic in his voice. Security patrol is 10 minutes away. 10 minutes. The dragons would not last 5. The storm cut deeper. Ice crawled over the dragon mother's scales. Her breathing slowed. The egg gave a weak glow, then dimmed. Ethan felt his hands shake. He was not brave. He was not chosen. But he was standing there. If he did nothing, they would die. If he helped, everything he built would be gone. His career. His freedom. Maybe his life. The workers looked at him, waiting. Fear filled their eyes. Ethan remembered his first day on the planet. How the cold almost killed him. How a stranger pulled him inside without asking his name. He remembered that. Sir, someone said. What do we do? Outside, the dragon lifted its head and looked directly at the control tower. Its eyes were not filled with rage. They were filled with hope. Ethan swallowed. Open the outer gate, he said. What? A worker shouted. Are you insane? Open it. Ethan repeated, louder now. That's a death sentence. Ethan turned. For them, yes. For us, maybe. No one moved. Ethan walked to the control panel himself. His finger hovered over the switch. The alarm screamed. Unauthorized action detected. Security countdown started. 9 minutes. 8. Ethan pressed the switch. The gate groaned open. Cold air exploded inside the camp. Workers shouted and stepped back as frost rushed across the floor. Outside, the dragons looked stunned. The large one hesitated. Ethan stepped forward, raising his voice over the storm. Inside, he shouted. Now! The dragon understood. Slowly, carefully, the family moved forward. The smaller dragon collapsed just inside the gate. Ice cracked from its body. Steam rose as warm air touched frozen scales. The egg rolled slightly, then stopped. The gate slammed shut. Silence followed. Everyone stared. A dragon family stood inside a human shelter. Enemies. Legends. Begging survivors. Ethan's heart pounded as he looked at the security timer. 7 minutes left. The dragon mother curled around the egg, shielding it with her body. Her eyes closed, weak but trusting. Ethan realized something then. This was no accident. And whatever happened next, the galaxy would never forget this moment. Shelter forbidden by law. The heat inside the shelter felt unreal. Warm air rushed over frozen scales, turning ice into steam. Water pooled on the metal floor. The dragon family did not move at first, as if afraid the warmth might disappear. Humans stood frozen too. No one spoke. No one dared. Ethan was the first to move. He took a slow step forward. His boots splashed in melting ice. Every instinct told him to stop. Dragons were not animals. They were power. They were war. But these dragons did not roar. They trembled. The smaller dragon collapsed fully. Its wings spread uselessly on the floor. Ice cracked loudly from its body. Its breathing was shallow and uneven. "It's dying," someone whispered. The dragon mother lifted her head. Her eyes met Ethan's. And then something strange happened. Ethan felt it. Not words. Not sound. A wave of feeling hit him. Fear, pain, and deep, crushing exhaustion. It was like standing inside someone else's nightmare. He staggered back. "What's wrong?" a worker asked. "They can feel us," another said in fear. "Sir, dragons can do that." Ethan steadied himself. His heart was racing, but not from fear alone. "They're not attacking," he said quietly. "They're asking." The dragon father lowered his head again, slower this time. His massive body shook. This was not weakness of flesh. This was desperation. The egg suddenly pulsed with a faint blue light. Once, then again. "It's alive," Ethan said. A sharp alarm cut through the air. Security patrol arriving in 6 minutes. Everyone jumped. Panic spread through the room like fire. "Sir, we can't hide them," a worker shouted. "Scanners will see them. And command will kill us all," another added. Ethan knew they were right. Human law was clear. No shelter, no aid, no exceptions, especially not for dragons. He looked at the family again. The dragon mother curled tighter around the egg, using her own body as a shield. Ice still clung to her wings, cutting into flesh. Dark blood dripped onto the floor, steaming as it fell. She was giving her heat to the egg, slowly dying so it might live. Ethan clenched his fists. "Move them to the heating bay," he said. "What?" someone yelled. "That's madness." "It's shielded," Ethan replied. "Old tech. Scanners won't read life signs inside. That bay hasn't been used in years." "Then it's time," Ethan said. The dragon father watched him closely, as if judging. 2 workers hesitated, then moved forward. They kept their distance, guiding the dragons with hand signals and light beams. The dragon family followed, slow, careful, trusting the humans who once hunted their kind. Every step felt like a crime. The heating bay doors opened with a long, angry screech. Inside, ancient machines hummed to life, responding to presence they had not felt in centuries. The temperature climbed fast. The smaller dragon gasped as warmth reached its chest. Color slowly returned to its scales. The egg glowed brighter. Then, a crack. Everyone froze. A thin line spread across the egg shell. The dragon mother let out a soft sound. Not a roar. A sob. "Sir," the technician said, voice shaking. "Security just changed course. They'll be here in 4 minutes." For minutes. Ethan's mind raced. He activated internal lockdowns, rerouting power, killing outside signals. Every move stacked more charges against him. He did not stop. Suddenly, the dragon father stepped forward. He lowered his massive head until his horn touched the floor in front of Ethan. Then something ancient happened. A symbol burned briefly across the dragon's scales, golden and sharp. Ethan felt a pressure in his chest, heavy and warm. "What did it do?" a worker whispered. Ethan shook his head slowly. "I don't know, but he felt it. A promise. A bond." The egg cracked again. A small claw pushed through the shell. Life fought its way out. The dragon child let out a weak cry. Soft, broken, but alive. The heating bay lights flickered. Old systems began to wake. Deep beneath the floor, something answered. A low hum echoed through the walls. "What does that sound?" someone asked. Ethan looked around, uneasy. The planet itself seemed to breathe. Then a cold voice cut through the speakers. "This is Human Security Command. Open all doors immediately." The countdown hit 1 minute. Ethan stepped forward, placing himself between the soldier's entry point and the dragon family. He straightened his back. If this was the end, he would face it standing. Behind him, the newborn dragon cried again. And far below the ice, something ancient stirred, something that had been waiting for this moment. The oath no human was meant to hear. The first cry of the newborn dragon cut through the heating bay like broken glass. Soft, weak, alive. Every human in the room felt it in their bones. The sound was not loud, yet it carried weight, ancient, deep, and wrong in a way that made the air feel heavy. Machines flickered, lights dimmed, then steadied again. The dragon mother lowered her head to the cracked shell. Steam rose from her breath as she nudged the newborn gently, as if afraid even touch might break it. The dragon child moved. A tiny wing unfolded, shaking. It lived. Ethan let out a breath he did not know he was holding. Then the speakers roared to life. Final warning. Open the doors immediately. The voice of Human Security Command was cold. Perfect. Trained. Armed footsteps echoed outside the heating bay. 30 seconds. Panic hit the workers. They're here. We're dead. They'll kill the dragons and us. Ethan did not move. He stood between the door and the dragon family, his hands open, his body tense. He was not strong. He had no weapon, but he stood anyway. The dragon father stepped forward. Slowly, carefully, the massive creature moved until it stood beside Ethan, not behind him. Beside him, the dragon lifted its head, towering over every human in the room. Its scales still cracked with ice scars, but its eyes burned brighter now. Not with rage, with decision. The dragon lowered its head until its horn was inches from Ethan's chest. Ethan felt it again. That pressure, but stronger. It was not pain. It was not fear. It was truth. Images flooded his mind. Frozen skies, burning worlds, dragon cities falling, human ships firing. A child screamed inside an egg. Ethan staggered, gasping. "Sir," someone shouted, reaching for him. Ethan raised a hand. "Don't." The dragon spoke. Not with sound, with meaning. "We remember those who choose." Ethan's heart pounded. Sweat ran down his face despite the cold. The dragon continued. "We remember those who stand when it is easier to run." A symbol flared across the dragon's chest. Bright gold, sharp like fire carved into metal. The same symbol burned into the air. Then it moved, straight toward Ethan. "No!" someone screamed. The symbol struck Ethan's chest. There was no pain, only heat, only weight. Ethan fell to one knee, gasping. His vision blurred. The world felt too big, too loud. Then it stopped. The symbol faded. The dragon pulled back. The heating bay went silent. What did it do to you?" a worker whispered. Ethan touched his chest. His hand shook. "I don't know," he said honestly. But deep inside, something had changed. The newborn dragon cried again, stronger this time. The sound echoed through the metal walls. Outside, the soldiers stopped. Their footsteps slowed. "Command." A nervous voice crackled through the speakers. "We're detecting energy spikes. This doesn't make sense." Ethan looked up. The heating bay machines were glowing. Old systems, older than the human camp, were fully awake now. Symbols flickered across walls that had been plain metal moments before. "This place," Ethan muttered. "It's reacting to them." The dragon mother lifted her head. Her eyes glowed faintly. "This was never your mine," her presence said softly. It was a refuge. The door to the heating bay shook. "Open it now," the commander shouted. By order of human authority. Ethan stood, slowly. His legs felt heavy but steady. He looked at the dragon family, then at the workers, then at the door. "No," he said. The word surprised even him. "What did you say?" the commander demanded. Ethan took a step forward. "I said no." The workers stared. Outside, the soldiers went silent. "You are obstructing military operation," the voice said, colder now. Step aside. Ethan did not move. Behind him, the dragon father spread its wings just a little. The temperature dropped. Ice formed along the walls. But the dragon did not attack. It waited. The commander laughed once, sharp and humorless. "You think a dragon can protect you?" the voice said. "We have orbital weapons." The dragon mother curled tighter around her child. The newborn dragon's eyes opened, bright, aware. At that exact moment, the planet answered. The floor trembled, not like an explosion, like a heartbeat. Deep beneath the ice, something ancient shifted. Alarms exploded across the camp. Seismic activity detected. Power surged from below. This isn't natural. Ethan felt it through his feet, through his chest, through the mark the dragon had given him. The dragon father lifted its head high, proud, ready. "They will come," the presence said, "but not as hunters." The heating bay doors cracked, then stopped. The soldiers outside shouted in confusion. The metal would not move. The ancient systems had locked them out. Ethan looked at the dragon child. So small, so powerful, so unwanted by the galaxy. And he understood. This was not about shelter anymore. This was about choice. Humanity had made one for centuries. Now it was his turn. Outside, Human Command began shouting new orders. Above the planet, ships adjusted their aim. And deep under the ice, the refuge fully awakened. The storm outside suddenly went silent, as if the world itself was holding its breath. When humans raised their weapons, the silence did not last. It broke with a sharp metallic sound as soldiers forced their way into the outer corridor. Boots hit the floor in perfect rhythm. Weapons charged. Orders were whispered, fast and nervous. Inside the heating bay, no one moved. Ethan stood at the front, his body between the door and the dragon family. His heart beat hard, but his mind was clear. Too clear. The mark on his chest felt warm, steady, like a second heartbeat. The newborn dragon shifted in its mother's claws. Its eyes were fully open now, watching. The door finally slid open with a violent scream of metal. Human soldiers flooded in. Black armor, cold visors, weapons aimed without hesitation. "Step away from the creatures," the commander shouted. "This is your final warning." Ethan did not move. Behind him, workers froze in fear. Some shook. Some cried quietly. None stepped forward. The dragon father growled low in its chest. The sound was deep, controlled, dangerous. The soldiers raised their weapons higher. "Fire on my command," the commander said. Time slowed. Ethan lifted his hands. "They're not attacking," he said. His voice echoed more than he expected. "They're protecting their child." "Silence," the commander snapped. "You've been compromised." Ethan felt anger rise, not loud, not wild. Focused. "You came here to mine," Ethan continued. "You came here to take. You never asked what this planet was." The commander laughed. "Planets don't belong to monsters." The heating bay hummed louder. Symbols glowed across the walls, brighter than before. The dragon mother lifted her head. Her presence washed over the room like a wave. Fear hit the soldiers, not sharp but heavy. Their hands tightened on triggers. Then the dragon child cried. Not weak, not small. The cry echoed through metal, through stone, through ice. Every system in the camp screamed. Unknown signal detected. Energy levels rising. "Command, something's wrong." The floor shook again. Harder this time. Cracks spread across the walls, glowing blue beneath the metal. Ancient markings emerged, burning away years of rust and dust. The commander stepped back. "What is this place?" he demanded. Ethan answered without turning around. "A shelter," he said. "For them." The dragon father stepped forward. Just one step. Ice formed instantly around its claws. The soldiers fired. Blue energy bolts screamed through the air. They never reached the dragons. An invisible barrier flared to life, ancient and solid. The blast hit it and vanished like sparks in water. The soldiers froze. Weapons useless. "What?" someone whispered. The dragon father spread, its wings fully now. The heating bay transformed. Walls shifted. Floors lowered. Pillars of light rose from the ground, wrapping around the dragon family like armor made of history. "This tech," a technician gasped. It's not human. The commander shouted into his comm. Orbital support now. This is out of control. Above the planet, ships adjusted position. Weapons charged. Ethan felt it. The mark on his chest burned. Not in pain. In warning. The Dragon Mother looked at him. Her presence was calm. Sad. We will protect the child, she said. Even if this world burns. Ethan turned. No, he said softly. She paused. Ethan faced the soldiers. Faced the weapons. Faced the fear. You don't have to do this, he said. You can walk away. The commander sneered. You think we'll let dragons live? Ethan shook his head. No, he said. I think you'll listen. The ancient systems responded. A deep sound rolled through the facility, like a voice too large to speak words. Above the planet, every ship's screen went dark. Then one message appeared. Not human, not dragon. Ancient, simple. Protected zone activated. The ships tried to fire. Nothing happened. Weapons failed. Engines stalled. Panic spread across the fleet. Inside the heating bay, soldiers lowered their weapons slowly. The commander stared at his dead display. This is impossible. Ethan met his gaze. So was a human standing for dragons, he said. The dragon child lifted its head. Its eyes glowed bright blue. The floor beneath it pulsed. The refuge was fully awake now. The planet was no longer silent. It was watching, waiting, judging. The dragon father bowed its head once to Ethan. Not as a king, not as a god, as an equal. Outside, the storm finally broke. The ice winds died. The sky cleared. And across the frozen world, ancient beacons lit up for the first time in thousands of years. Human command fell silent. The galaxy had noticed, and nothing would ever be the same again. The truth buried under ice. The galaxy did not stay quiet. It reacted. Across orbit, human warships drifted like blind giants. Their engines were dead. Their weapons useless. Crews shouted orders that no system obeyed. Panic spread faster than any signal. Inside the refuge, the soldiers stood frozen, not by ice but by truth. Ethan felt the hum beneath his boots grow stronger. The mark on his chest pulsed in slow rhythm, matching the planet's heartbeat. This isn't possible, the commander whispered. No technology can shut down a fleet. Ethan looked at the glowing walls, the ancient symbols now fully awake. It's not technology, he said. It's memory. The dragon mother shifted carefully, keeping the newborn warm. The child's breathing was steady now. Strong. The dragon father turned toward the humans. Its presence filled the room. Not with fear, with history. Images poured into Ethan's mind again, but this time clearer. Worlds of ice and fire. Dragons and humans standing together. Shared cities. Shared skies. Then fire. Human weapons. Dragon bodies falling. A betrayal that burned deeper than flame. Ethan gasped. This place, he said slowly. Humans knew about it. The dragon's presence confirmed it. You are not the first, it said. You were the last to remember. The commander's face went pale. That's a lie, he said. Humans discovered this system 50 years ago. Ethan turned to him. No, he said. Humans found it again. The walls shifted. A section of metal peeled away, revealing a massive chamber beneath the heating bay. Inside were stone pillars carved with both human and dragon symbols. Old, worn, but real. This was a joint refuge, Ethan said. Built together. The soldiers stared in silence. We hit it, the commander whispered, almost to himself. Ethan looked at him sharply. You knew. The commander's jaw tightened. Command classified it. Dragons were labeled hostile. Easier to justify. To justify what? Ethan asked. The commander did not answer. He didn't have to. The newborn dragon suddenly cried again, but this time the sound was different. Clear. Strong. The pillars responded. Light shot upward through the ceiling, piercing the ice and reaching into orbit. Every ship received the signal. Not a threat. A message. Across the galaxy, ancient dragon beacons awakened. On moons, asteroids, dead worlds. Dragons everywhere felt it. The refuge lives. Human command panicked. Orders flooded in. Orbital strike authorized. Erase the site. Silence the signal. Ethan laughed once, bitter. They're scared, he said. The dragon father stepped closer. They always are when truth returns. The floor shook violently. Outside, the ice cracked open, revealing massive structures buried for ages. Defensive towers, shields, and archives. This planet was not a hiding place. It was a vault of shared history. The commander fell to his knees. You don't understand, he said. If dragons return, humans lose control. Ethan looked down at him. No, he said. Humans lose the lie. A warning alarm screamed. Planetary defense systems online. Above orbit, ships tried to flee. They couldn't. The planet held them. The dragon mother lifted her head one last time. Her presence reached far beyond the refuge now. We did not come for war, she said. We came to survive. Ethan felt the weight of that truth. The newborn dragon opened its mouth. A small flame flickered, blue and pure. The future. Human Command's final message echoed through every channel. Ethan Cole, you are charged with treason against humanity. Ethan smiled slightly. Then humanity better decide who it wants to be, he said. The planet answered with light. And across the stars, dragons turned their heads toward a frozen world they had not dared to name in centuries. The truth was out, and the galaxy was about to choose sides. When humanity chose to stand, the order came through every channel at once. Cold. Final. All personnel are authorized to neutralize the target. Ethan did not flinch. He stood at the center of the refuge, the ancient light painting his face in blue and gold. Around him, human soldiers stared at their weapons, now working again, but heavier than before. Outside, the planet's shields hummed like a living thing. In orbit, trapped warships struggled against invisible force. Inside them, officers screamed orders no one wanted to follow. The commander rose slowly from his knees. You've doomed us, he said. When dragons arrive, they will burn human worlds. Ethan shook his head. They already know how to burn, he replied. What they're waiting to see is who we are. Behind him, the dragon family stood tall now. The dragon father's wings were fully healed. Ice scars gone as ancient energy flowed through its scales. The dragon mother watched the soldiers with calm eyes, her body wrapped protectively around the child. The newborn dragon looked at Ethan and stepped forward. Gasps filled the chamber. The small dragon placed one claw on the glowing floor, and the light answered. A pulse raced outward. Across the camp, human workers felt it. Miners, engineers, medics. They stopped running. They turned back. Why do I feel like this? Someone whispered. It feels right, another said. Human soldiers lowered their weapons, just a little. The commander shouted, Hold the line. No one moved. Ethan spoke, his voice steady. You were sent here to follow orders, he said. But orders don't decide who you are. Choices do. A soldier stepped forward. Then another. One by one, humans moved to Ethan's side. The commander stared in disbelief. This is mutiny. No, Ethan said quietly. This is humanity. The refuge responded. Ancient doors opened, revealing armories, human and dragon weapons side by side. Symbols glowed, recognizing both species. We remember you, the dragon father said. Those who stood with us before. Outside, the sky darkened. Not with storm, with wings. Dragon shapes appeared through the clouds. Dozens, then hundreds. They did not attack. They waited. Human Command lost control completely. Desperate, they gave the final order. Fire everything. Break the planet. Orbiting ships forced their weapons online. Energy beams struck the shield. The shield held. Then it pushed back. A shockwave rolled through space, disabling engines without destroying ships. No one died. The dragons noticed. They roared, not in anger, but in approval. The dragon mother lifted her head. See, her presence said, they protect without killing. The newborn dragon spread its wings for the first time. Small, bright, hope. The commander dropped his weapon. This wasn't supposed to happen, he whispered. Ethan looked at the gathered humans and dragons. This is what happens, he said, when fear stops leading. The refuge sent one final signal. Across the galaxy, it carried a simple message. Humans stood. Every dragon heard it. Every old enemy remembered. The frozen planet was no longer a secret. It was a line, and humanity had stepped across it. The debt the galaxy could not escape. The galaxy watched. For the first time in centuries, humans were not running. They were not hiding behind fleets or laws or lies. They were standing on the frozen world. The refuge shone like a new star beneath the ice. Human soldiers lowered their weapons completely. Some removed their helmets. Some fell to their knees, not in fear, but in understanding. Above them, dragons filled the sky, not attacking, not fleeing, waiting. Ethan stepped forward into the open air. The cold no longer bit his skin. The mark on his chest glowed softly, steady and calm. The dragon father landed before him, the impact shaking the ground. It folded its wings and lowered its massive head. Every dragon followed. They bowed. The sight was broadcast across the galaxy. Human channels went silent. Dragon channels whispered in disbelief. The dragon mother stepped beside Ethan, her newborn held close. The child looked up at him, eyes bright with ancient awareness. The debt is sealed, the present said, not in blood, in memory. Ethan felt the weight of it, not as a burden, but as a promise. A signal cut through the void. Not human, not dragon. Galactic Council. This event is unprecedented, the voice said carefully. Dragons acknowledge a human. Explain. Ethan looked up at the sky. They asked for shelter, he said simply. We gave it. Silence followed. Then something changed. Across the stars, pirate fleets withdrew. Border worlds once hunted by dragons went quiet. Old battle zones cooled overnight. Because dragons talk, and dragons remember. The commander, now stripped of authority, watched the sky in horror. You've turned them into our protectors, he said. Ethan shook his head. No, he replied. We reminded them who we can be. The dragon father lifted its head high. Hear us, its presence carried across systems. Humans who stand will never stand alone. A new law spread, not written by councils but by action. No dragon would hunt a human world again. Not because they feared humans, but because they respected them. The refuge slowly powered down, its purpose fulfilled. The ancient systems faded back into the ice, leaving the world quiet once more. The dragon family prepared to leave. The mother paused and pressed her forehead gently against Ethan's chest. The mark faded, but the bond remained. The newborn dragon let out a small roar, sharp and proud. Then the family rose into the sky, joining the others. One by one, dragons vanished into the stars. The frozen world fell silent. Human ships regained control, but no weapons were fired. They left. Days later, the galaxy began to change. Humans were no longer called fragile. They were called keepers. Stories spread, not of fire or war, but of a human foreman who opened a door in a storm. And dragons answered. Ethan returned to his work. No medals, no statues, just a quiet understanding. Because the greatest power humanity ever showed was choosing mercy when no one was watching. And somewhere in the dark between stars, a dragon child learned a human name. A name the galaxy would never forget.